Hi, welcome to the ITLD TV News weekly update from Jerusalem, bringing you the news from Israel and the Middle East. My name is Blackham. I'm here with Nathalie Blackham, and our first story today is the 2012 Iran's atomic daydreams, and this is a story from INN. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei has ordered the Revolutionary Guards to immediately proceed with the completion of an atomic bomb, with hopes of a test in 2012. Iran Press News reports the order includes testing and arming of missiles capable of delivering a nuclear payload, according to sources inside the Revolutionary Guards, the report says. In another news story from INI, 2 rocket attacks south of Ashkelon, IDF bomb tunnels. Terrorists in Hamas-controlled Gaza, the Gaza Strip, which is in the south of Israel, attacked south of Ashkelon, that's the port in the south, Saturday with 2 rockets, and the Air Force, that's the Israeli Air Force, retaliated with a bombing attack on the terror tunnel. No damage or injuries were reported in the missile attacks, and the IDF said the retaliatory bombing scored a direct hit on the tunnel, and they're building a lot of tunnels from the Gaza Strip where they're bringing in weapons and also illegal goods, isn't it, Nathalie?
And also touching about that, Gaza rocket men shoot for the moon. This is an article from Sharon Weinberger from the Slate. Abu Zaif, a rocket maker from the Al-Qassam Martyrs Brigades, is a fan of Google Earth. One recent evening in Gaza City, I sat next to him as he showed me how to use the popular satellite mapping program to target sites within Israel. According to Abu Zaif, more Soviet-era grade rockets whose range far exceed the range of the homemade Qassams have been coming through the tunnels, and other militant factions now have them. And again, touching also on that, Sderot, is a place very close to Gaza. It's a Jewish town. Sderot, adults and children traumatized by rocket fire. This is from INET News. According to a study conducted by Nathalie, a trauma center for victims of terror and war, 70% of the kids residing in Sderot that has been in the receiving end of thousands of rockets in recent years are suffering from at least one syndrome of post-traumatic stress. A third of all Sderot residents suffer from anxiety and have trouble functioning normally.
And the big news story in Israel as we speak is the pro-Hamas activists fail in the air and on the sea. And INI reported that photographers almost outnumbered flying activists at Ben Gurion Airport, that's press photographers, as Israel's diplomatic efforts stymied the pro-Arab protests in the air and on the sea. Several pro-Hamas activists who failed to set sail for Gaza tried their luck in the air, that's by flying into Ben Gurion Airport, but to no avail. And even as we're speaking today and bringing you this 5-minute news report, a French ship is trying to travel from Egypt to Gaza, which has an exclusion zone around it. The reason is that they're trying to prevent weapons from coming in, and also to try and put pressure on the Hamas government to surrender a soldier. Gilad Shalit, which we mentioned last week in the ITLD TV News update, has been in Hamas captivity for 5 years. We had the opportunity to speak with his father, Noam Shalit, at the protest tent in Jerusalem, and let's go and hear what Noam had to say. Noam Shalit in the tent, which has been here for 1 year to protest the abduction of the Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. Now, the Israeli news is full of the story at the moment. In Haaretz, it says Gilad Shalit's parents turned to Tony Blair in freeing their son. Also in Haaretz newspaper, it says IDF chief appoints special team to re-examine Gilad Shalit's case. Now, many of you may not know the story, but what happened was that Gilad Shalit, who is a French-Israeli soldier, was captured on on the 25th of June 2006 by Hamas on a cross-border raid into Israel. This was near the Kerem Shalom crossing, and he's been held as a hostage since that time. And his father and the family have been protesting and asking for the Israeli government to be involved in his release. So we're here with you today, Noam. Thank you for giving us your time today. Now, you've been here in the protest tent for 1 year, and tell us why you're here.
Well, we sit here in front of Prime Minister residence. Demand to the release of that he will bring back our son after 5 years.
And that's the reason why you have the protest tent, is because it's to continually remind them that they need to resolve.
Remind the decision makers and the Prime Minister, especially, that the decision is in his hands. First thing, and the others as well. We sit here in Jerusalem where the decisions are made, not because we sat 4 years in our home at the north of the country and nothing happened.
And now we have people watching across Europe. The people will be watching in England. There'll be a lot of people who've been praying for Gilad. Have you got a special message for those who would like to help, or feel they're watching today and would like somehow to be involved in what's happening here?
We need more than prayers, after 5 years of captivity with no communication with Gilad. We need more than prayers.
And they can also write to their member of parliament or their member of the European Parliament, and that would help.
Yeah, sure, because Gilad is also is European as well.
He has a French nationality.
Yeah. Yes.
So that would help if they could maybe. Is there an organisation there?
Maybe they can write to the Amnesty International headquarters in London that doesn't mention Gilad and does not make any efforts to have any contact with him. Only when it involves Palestinian prisoners or Palestinian people. We hear the voice of Amnesty International.
So pressure on Amnesty International would be an important part of the campaign.
International, ICRC, European Parliament, UK Parliament. Well, that's...
And President Sarkozy, maybe there's people in France who might be able to help by putting pressure.
We should condemn this crime of kidnapping and keeping a person as a hostage for bargaining and extortion. It's definitely a war crime under the Rome Statute, and it should be first of all condemned by all the international community, the European Union, and all the free countries, and it shouldn't be tolerated this conduct of the Hamas leaders. If we want to see our son back home alive, we have to fight for it. Otherwise, in this region, nothing comes easy.
So that was Noam Shalit's dad speaking about his son Gilad and his captivity in the Gaza Strip, being held by Hamas terrorists. The Deputy Foreign Minister, Danny Alon, thanked European countries for their help and cooperation in preventing hundreds of provocateurs from arriving in the flying demonstration of solidarity with the Palestinian Authority. Speaking at an event in Tel Aviv, the Minister Alon said, "It is proven again that contrary to the accepted view in certain circles, Israel is not isolated and is a respected society in the international community." In other words, Israel isn't standing alone, but there are other countries who are standing with Israel.
This is good news. And like Greece have been very supporting also of Israel. This is wonderful to see that. Now also some good news. There is the first Nefesh Ben Nefesh summer flight which arrived. This is news from INN. And 245 North Americans, new Olim, which means Jewish immigrants, are landed in Israel in the summer, first Nefesh Ben Nefesh flight. And obviously when it's like that, there is a welcome and there is people, Sharansky comes and go to speak with them, and it's just wonderful to see that people are coming back to Israel. Majorcan descendants of Spanish Jews who converted are recognized as Jews. This is from the New York Times. Centuries after the Spanish Inquisition forced the conversion of Jewish to Catholicism. Now these descendants from the insular island of Majorca have been recognized as Jews.
And the Jerusalem Post reported that despite the revolution, the United States is set to approve tank sales to Egypt. If approved, the deal would increase the number of tanks in Egypt from around 1,000 to 1,030. But Congress must approve that deal, Nathalie.
And today, this is the 17th of Tammuz in the biblical calendar, which is in July. And this is very important for the Jewish people. It's part of a fast, a special fast, because it was the destruction of the temple. So this is part also of the news. But we want to finish with the good news, and what is written in the Bible is that the word of Jehovah, Tsevaot, the God of Israel, come to me. And Jehovah said, the fast days of the 4th and the 5th and the 7th and the 10th months are to become times of joy and gladness and cheer for the house of Judah, Yehudah. Therefore, love, truth, and peace. So we know that all the fasting will end up into rejoicing. So carry on praying and rejoice with Jerusalem.
Well, it's been great to be with you on the ITLD TV News Update, bringing you the latest news from Israel and the Middle East.